Date with a Debut is recorded and produced on Awabakal Country, and I pay my respects to all elders past and present and extend that to any First Nations people tuning in. Always was, always will be, Aboriginal land. On with the show.
I've always loved writing world building first. It's probably my favorite part of the whole process, writing the world, the magic, the politics, the religion, the landscape. It just felt a bit like a drug. It's like once you start, you can't go back. I wanted to create this world completely around phoenixes.
Welcome to Date with a Debut, a podcast about debut authors, their incredible books, and their journey to publication. If you're looking for a new author to discover or writing inspiration for your own story and you don't know where to start, this is the place to be. I'm Nick Wasiliev, host of the show, and I'm delighted to welcome another debut author in today's episode. If you enjoyed the show, jump online and give us a thumbs up, a 5-star review. It really helps the show out. If you also want to hear episodes when they drop, be sure to subscribe to Words and Nerds, or you can subscribe to Date with a Debut on Podbean to hear the latest episodes as they drop. Want to support the show more? You can also subscribe to my Patreon in the description to get early access to episodes, book reviews, recommendations, and a whole lot more. Wherever you are listening, thank you for listening to us and supporting the Australian book industry. You can also find any books mentioned in today's podcast down in the description. Today, I'm joined by Mikayla Bridge, a fantasy author based in Melbourne. She grew up on a small town farm and completed a BA with honours in political science and international relations. But we're here today to talk about her fiction fantasy debut of Flame and Fury, published by Macmillan Australia, which you can get a copy of down in the description. We will discuss some mild spoilers, so I recommend you grab yourself a copy now, or at least very soon. I started off by asking Mikayla about transitioning over to writing fiction after completing her honours degree, and the process of building and creating the world of Sendor. Mikayla, welcome to Date with a Debut.
Thank you so much, Nick. I'm very excited to be here.
It's such a joy to have you here and to talk about this amazing debut book, which for everyone on the Ubes of Tubes, I'm holding up to the screen now, of Flame and Fury. But before we get into the, kind of talking about the book and stuff, I got sidetracked, because I stalked you online and was trying to find out about a whole bunch about you before we started the show. And I know you did a BA in political science, international relations, and then I just find it so fascinating that you pivot straight to fantasy fiction author. Love it.
It's a strong pipeline.
I know. Yeah. Out of curiosity, where does writing sit in the world of Mikayla, the person?
Oh God, I don't know. I can't explain how I went from political science, international relations, very much intending to go into that as a career, to writing YA fantasy. In my head, it was obvious evolution, but no, probably not to other people. I think I just always wrote books. I always loved reading my entire life, whether I was writing, little writing picture books, a teen writing 4 a.m. fanfic, trying to write my own books instead of studying for exams. I just always loved to write, but I never really considered myself a writer or an author. It was always just something I did as a hobby. And I think A Flame and Fury was maybe my 10th or 11th book, something like that. Mm-hmm. I just never considered it a possible career. I was very happy going into politics or international relations. And I just remember a very, very specific light bulb moment. I went to a Melbourne Comic-Con with my sister, and we went to an Australian author panel, and one of the authors was a fantasy author. And she was asked how she got published, etc. And she said, well, I queried US and UK literary agents, and then we submitted to publishers, etc., etc. And I just remember sitting there and having this light bulb moment and thinking, Australian authors can query internationally to agents who represent your dream authors. You can pursue traditional publishing. And just hearing that, I just went straight back to the hotel my sister and I were staying at, created a querying spreadsheet with my dream agents, and it all just completely snowballed from there. Tunnel vision. This is exactly what I wanted to do.
I love that you have a particular moment that does, and the tunnel moment, or the snowball moment, has culminated in an actual book. At the time of us talking, obviously for listeners it'll be out in the world when at the time you're listening to this, but for us it comes out in 2 days. Does it feel weird?
Yes. Yeah. It's not real. Time doesn't exist, honestly. I've just been in a bit of a bubble working on the next thing, and it's starting to ramp up and everything, but I just keep forgetting this is a real thing that's going to be out in the world with everyone else. It doesn't really belong to me anymore, which is freeing and terrifying. So I feel like it's a good balance. You don't want to go too far into either of those. So yeah, very, very surreal.
I love that. And before we kind of actually let's dive into the book, there is one thing I always really like to ask fantasy writers, whether it be no matter the genre, and that is, I love hearing the stories of building, of world building. It's one of the real it's one of the real joys of this particular genre, of these particular books. You get to play God a little bit when you're building this kind of world of Salta. What was it like, first of all? Like, you've come back, you've kind of had this idea, you've got this crazy world of phoenixes and phoenix racing, and you're creating this world of Salta. What was it like, kind of, first of all, building that? What was the process? What was the headspace? And then when you subsequently got the deal with Macmillan, kind of kicking it around with them and actually going, oh, we actually are creating a whole world on the page here. What was that experience like?
Wild, surreal again. But I've always loved writing world building first. It's probably my favorite part of the whole process, writing the world, the magic, the politics, the religion, the landscape. And I think when I started writing, I wrote contempt, and then I worked into real world fantasy or speculative fiction, and then I took the step into epic fantasy, into these made up worlds, and it just felt a bit like a drug. It's like, once you start, you can't go back. Honestly, it was just incredible. It was, once you start playing God, it's very, very hard to stop. So I wanted to create this world completely around phoenixes. So the world building and the politics are all based on these profitable phoenix races. And when I realized that was the premise, and I really wanted to speak about commercializing animals for entertainment and for human gain, so all the technology and the religion and the characters and everything is based around the existence of phoenixes. So that is the part that always comes to me first: the world, the premise, the what if, and then the characters and the story go next and kind of fall into place like dominoes.
Let's talk about this. Let's talk about this book then. Let's not beat about the bush any longer. For everyone, right. Again, I'm holding up this cover. We've also got the cover on the screen. This is the part of the show where, like with previous episodes, I have the author. I'm in the lift with you now. We are going up to whatever floor that we're on, and it is time for the classic elevator pitch. What is A Flame and Fury about?
So, A Flame and Fury is a YA romantic fantasy about F1 Phoenix racing. It's set in this land built by alchemists and populated by fantastical creatures like phoenixes, sea monsters, sprites, magical serpents. And the book takes place on the island Sendor, where phoenix racing has been commercialized and really sits at the center of their culture and their economy. And our main character, Kel, she participates in these races for money. And because of spoilers, she has to team up with Coop, her longtime arrogant rival, all while trying to untangle this political conspiracy that really could just burn their world to the ground.
Ding! Nailed it. We're here. We arrived on the screen. It's good. And for context, I just want to shout out one thing that I always love in these things. I'm holding up a map. I love me a map.
Oh my God. Isn't it gorgeous?
Love me a map in books, and this is a gorgeous map. First of all, I mean, like, I know who did this map and how much.
Her name is Virginia Allen. She's incredible. I owe her my life. The organs I would have been willing to sell to get one of her maps in my book. Oh my God, it's amazing. And it's just more than I could have dreamt. She was always a favorite artist online. And when my editors, who had worked with her before, suggested, oh, we'd love to have a map included. Have you heard of Virginia Allen? And I had to play it so cool. Have I heard of Virginia Allen? Yes, of course. And it was just, she took my very, very terrible hand-drawn attempt at a draft map with some scribbles and everything, and turned it into that so seamlessly. Having never read the book, having no idea my vision, she just somehow crawled inside my brain and got everything so perfect. It's just amazing.
It really is, and it really is the perfect starting point for this world, because it's so great that we kind of, the world feels very colorful. There's lots of I mean, of course, I kind of immediately did kind of pick up on that subtext around Phoenix racing and the elements to it, because yes, there's that fantasy element, but what's also really, really good about it is that, that there's that political element that's kind of in the background. There are lots of people hanging over these characters, kind of the pressure to, be profitable, to these races you have to chase fortune. You have to kind of, and there's all those elements that really add to the pressure that faces these characters. Tell me about, I mean, I know that there was obviously an element of kind of pulling from, our own world and our own environment with that sort of space in some way, shape and form. But talk to me about Phoenix racing, because it is the crux of a lot of where the action of this story sits. I think it's kind of important for listeners being like, this is the environment that these characters are in.
Phoenixes. I've always loved Phoenixes. I think, honestly, and this is always weird to talk about, I've always had this lifelong phobia of birds. I think it's because I grew up on a farm and was swooped all the time. So I'm wondering if writing my debut about these giant magical murder birds was my subconscious's attempt at exposure therapy. So that's my working theory. But in a more conscious sense, I've just always loved Phoenixes. The different things they can symbolize in different cultures and in different media. Their rebirth, their hope, their new beginnings, their fire. And it was just one of those elements that I'd always been obsessed with and was really just waiting for the right idea to fit them into. They're just incredible, and they work so well into the concept of racing. I just always love them.
Kel is such a great character for this story. Kind of just going straight off the bat, because she has a lot of strength. There's a lot of care in her. But she's also incredibly fierce and protective. She cares so much for her Phoenix. Savita, I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that correctly. Did I get it wrong? Did I get it completely wrong?
No. Okay. So I always pronounced it Savita, but I've just heard Savita, but no, you are correct. I am wrong. I've decided. This is what we're going with. We're going with Savita because I've just heard my incredible audiobook. I just got it, and I just listened to it this morning by the incredible narrator Safia Inga, and it's completely my fault for not sending a pronunciation guide. So it is Savita. It is Savita. That is the law. Yes.
Now watch me just get it wrong for the rest of the show and bounce back and forth. But yeah, Kel looks after Savita so much. Like she cares for this Phoenix so much, kind of arguably almost more than herself.
Too much.
No, actually, no. Let's call it how it is. More than herself. She cares for this Phoenix more than herself, and honestly. And the funny thing is that she's deep into this world, but she's not a fan of racing. But kind of like a lot of us, a lot of adults, sometimes you are forced to do something that you don't like doing to survive. It helps survive. It helps pay the bills, and it helps keep them in a state of being of survival and being okay. And truthful, Savita is very, very good at racing. It's excellent, a really, really good Phoenix racer. Tell me about these two, because obviously they're the key part of kind of the key lens and focal point of this story to begin with.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think we have the enemies to lovers in the book, but I always say that the real key relationship is between Kel and Sav, her Phoenix. And I think Kel is this stubborn, angry, too sure of herself teen who grew up on a farm with her father and their pet Phoenix. And I think for her whole life, she's had this magical, fantastical, immortal creature to keep her company. And I was very fascinated by the idea of someone having an immortal pet growing up, because having that bond, it's really going to stunt or stall your understanding of death. And I don't think it's really a spoiler, but when we first meet Kel, she's grieving. And I thought, because I love making characters suffer, if you lose someone important to you, why would you ever let yourself open up to anyone else again when you have this immortal creature like a phoenix to keep you company, a creature that you're never worried will leave you? So that's where Kel came from. She just kind of unraveled from there. It's where we meet her. She's had this lovely magical childhood with a wonderful magical companion. But as the book begins, we slowly start to see how that relationship with Sav has given her an excuse to keep other people at arm's length.
And she's part of this kind of group of races, the Crimson Howlers, who are kind of the core crux of this group. And I will give away this spoiler that I know that you tried to avoid, but early on in this story, they lose a rider. The key thing about this, which really adds the element of danger to this, is that Phoenix riding is extremely profitable, but it is extremely dangerous. It does come with a risk of life and death to it. And this leads to a particular individual joining the team, and that is, of course, Coop. And, initial impressions of this particular character is he's a very reckless individual. Some might even say a little bit arrogant from my kind of feeling about looking at him. But then as the story gets deeper, we sort of, one of the things I love about it is that we kind of realize why Coop is the way that he is. Talk to me about Coop, because look, I didn't want to. In my head and my heart, I know that it's also about Kel and Sav, but I really liked Coop.
I love Coop.
Coop.
He's so much more of me. Yeah, I love Coop. He's just a lot better at hiding how he's feeling. I thought he was the perfect antithesis of Kel, who is very much practicality. What you see is what you get. She wears her heart on her sleeve, whether for better or worse. She's angry, she's stubborn. And Coop has had very similar experiences, but he's dealt with that by shoving it down, by burying the hard things. And I think that's a large part of why Kel hates him. She only sees the surface that he exudes. And his older brother can obviously see past that. But to the world and to his fans and the media that adores him for his racing skills, he is just this arrogant, charming, handsome rider who loves doing these tricks and survives these near-death experiences and just loves being a bit of a daredevil and works that angle because it helps him profit off the races. And so he kind of tricks himself into believing the facade as well. And as we dig a little bit more into why that is and why he feels the need to participate in these races as well, it's kind of inevitable that Kel is forced to realize, we actually have a lot more in common than I initially thought. If I hate you, then I'm a bit of a hypocrite because I'm doing the exact same thing and participating in these races for profit as well. So I thought that was I love writing characters that are either hypocrites or have to realize things about themselves that they're maybe not comfortable with. And both Kel and Coop have to do that in different ways. And it was just, I love him to death. He was so much fun to write. Poor buddy needs a bit of a break.
The moral journey of them is kind of really what really hooks you in, the stuff that they've got to deal with. And look, I'm going to say the most cliched thing that you can say with an enemies to lovers romance. But there was a couple of moments near the end of the book where I was like, just kiss already! God damn it! Jesus Christ! God dang it!
But you want though, right? You want to tease people.
Yeah,
absolutely.
You tease. It's the worst. God dang you. Tell me a little bit as well about the whole group of the Crimson Howlers as well, because there's a great dynamic between these two, and particularly when Coop comes in and kind of changes the apple cart, kind of changes the apple cart as they kind of it's I guess the best way to describe it. There's such a great group of individuals that you've assembled here.
Yeah, they were always, so there's the Crimson Howlers, there's 5 of them. They really haven't changed that much from the first draft. They existed as a unit in different forms, but always the same individuals in my brain. There's Dira, the strategist. She's very similar to Kel in that she's very practical, calls it how she sees it, but is also quite impulsive. And there's Becken, who is Coop's older brother. He is the publicist, so he's always thinking about the PR angle, the media. He's very good at considering things that others don't, in the sense that, oh, if we do this thing that might make you uncomfortable and play it up for the cameras right now, it'll benefit us in the future. And then we have Ran, I don't know if this is a spoiler. Oh, well. We have Ran, the technician who develops all the gear and does the engineering behind the scenes for the uniforms that keeps Coop alive and stops him from burning alive when he's riding the Phoenix, and all the earcoms that they use to communicate during the races. So they're all playing different parts for the same structure, and seeing how this intense, wild thing like Phoenix racing, where there's lots of emotions, there's lots of tension, there's lots of adrenaline, it's going to force you to deal with a lot of emotions that you probably wouldn't be ready to in everyday life, that you could suppress. And it was just so much fun seeing how this wild experience, this deadly experience, would impact different characters.
It's real F1. It's F1 Phoenix racing. Literally, it's exactly what it is. It's kind of that, and it brings out pressure and tension. On that, I actually really just want to shower you with another compliment about this book, and that is the pace. It is frenetic. It's, true to form. Like, I think I'm glad that I was not the only one that picked up on this, because looking at reviews and stuff like this on Goodreads, as we all do, we all look on Goodreads as well. Like, the authors do it, the readers do it. The pace of this is frenetic. And intense, and I don't want to say, like, I'm not surprised that that there is that comparison with F1, like the kind of Drive to Survive sort of thing, because the storytelling, I remember I got hooked on that documentary as well, and being like, oh god, there is so much more complex elements to it. Talk to me about writing pace and speed and frenetic, because it just you do get hooked up into it really, really quickly as a reader.
Thank you. I've always loved writing big settings, big action prop pieces. It's just always been one of my favorite things to write. So I think with this story especially, you have a book of extremes. You have these giant, loud set pieces, phoenixes and races and conspiracies, and I wanted to use them as almost a red herring for the emotional journeys that a lot of the characters are on. And because you have these big moments, and then you have to deal with the emotional fallout on the consequences. And also, I just really enjoy it. And I think readers deserve to get to fly on a phoenix and have some fun in a fantasy book.
I love as well, and this is kind of like, I don't want to say it's the last element, but it's kind of one of the other elements that hang over this story, is that, I'm glad you kind of have mentioned all of these characters in the Crimson Howlers, because, we have that, as we alluded to a little bit earlier, that kind of political backdrop with, over the top of this kind of enemies to lovers sort of romance. You've got this, and I'll keep it spoiler free with this one, a very mysterious tech mogul who has a really unhealthy interest in Sabita. There's the other political elements of the racing and the fortunes that are also there to be made. Try and to straddle that line of no spoilers, but tell me about some of these figures that are kind of hanging over the heads, because that's where the pressure really is coming from in this story. Like, they're really hanging over the heads of the Crimson Howlers. Like, you have to perform, you have to deliver, otherwise it's all over.
Yeah, absolutely. I think because of my background with political science, there will always be a political struggle of some kind in any book I write. It's just so much fun.
I didn't want to say it, but I was like, I could tell. I was like, oh yes, there's the political stuff coming back out. There it is.
Absolutely. Yeah. I don't know if it's always conscious or subconscious, but I think there will always be a political subplot in some capacity in anything I write. I love pulling apart and interrogating different government structures in fantasy books. So to me, it wove quite organically with the rest of the Flame and Fury's chess pieces. And then the eccentric billionaire that comes into the story and offers the Howlers sponsorship with, a bit of an unsettling interest in their Phoenix. He was a really fun and difficult character to write, because he is the stereotypical, he's the archetyped, the tech billionaire, and you don't necessarily know his motives yet, and you have to untangle that. But I also really don't want to write such black and white characters. I love writing grey characters with some moral complexity. And so I really wrote him from the point of view, well, if I'm in this situation and these are my circumstances and I care about this specific set of people, what would I do if I'm desperate? What would I do to handle the situation, to get myself out of it and to take care of the people that I love? And I think given the right motivations, I would do exactly what this character does, honestly. And so I think there was a point when I really wanted to, I'm trying to think how to word this without spoiling the complete ending, but
yes,
there were points when I when I really wanted to take his journey in another direction, really, really, really badly. And my editors kind of had to put their foot down and say, no, this is not even his story. This is Kel's story. But I tried very hard in multiple drafts to weave a bit more complexity into his character, but also balancing it in a way that didn't undercut the other main characters' journeys.
This is a good segue to kind of a good place to end talking about the book, because avoiding spoilers, that once he comes on, stuff happens, things go down, and
stuff happens. That's the tagline.
Stuff happens. It is that is the true. It is true. And I'm very curious, now that you have had this snowballing adventure and the result is this beautiful book, what did it teach you? What did doing this exercise, completing this exercise, teach you, whether it be Mikayla the author, Mikayla the person? What did it teach you?
That's a really good question, because I could go technical or I could go the other way. I think there was lots I learned through the editorial process, working with other people for the first time, rather than it just being my own process. Whatever chaos got words on the page, I needed to create some more structure. But I think the biggest thing I learned, because it's a long process, is just how important it is to have that community in your corner, not just a network of other writers, but a real community that you trust to tell you the good and bad, to pick you back up if you get down, to celebrate your wins. I think that is just the most important part of this whole process, whether it's other people debuting or more established, or people who have zero interest in reading the book but care about you a lot. And it's just so important to have those people in your corner, because publishing is nothing but ebbs and flows. There is no consistency to it, for better or worse. And if you're going to pursue this journey, it's very, very important to have a lot of people that will support you, no matter whether you fall to the ground or succeed.
Nailed it. Yeah, absolutely true. And the great thing is a lot of people in this community really kind of recognize that and are like, they're always willing to help and offer their support.
Especially the Australian community. It's wildly supportive. It's incredible.
Absolutely. This probably will be a bit of a spoiler, but will we see more from the world of Salter? Will we see
That's a great
more?
question. Okay. I think I can share this because it was shared in the announcement. So
yes,
sorry, editors. But there is a book 2. It's not a direct sequel. It's a same world standalone. And I'm so excited. I'm working on the second draft at the moment, and I'm having so much fun with it. So it's set in the same world as A Flame and Fury with a completely new set of characters. It's set directly after it, so we see the consequences and the fallout of the plot of A Flame and Fury. But it takes place on another island with some very insidious magic that looks beautiful and harmless, but is probably the most dangerous of any of the magical creatures in Salter. It's a lot darker. I've been kind of calling it it's a Baz Luhrmann directed YA fantasy. It's loud, indulgent, lavish, tragic, romantic, all the things I love to write about.
Oh, nailed it. It's good. I just knew that it's that story, that world building Mikayla has struck again with another with another book that's coming down the ranks. I love it.
It's so much fun.
we'll finish off this podcast with what I like to call a rapid fire part of the date, where I basically fling a bunch of questions at you and you give me the first answer that comes to your head. Does that sound all right to you?
Oh, yeah. Let's do it. Interrogation.
Be terrified. Right. You should be terrified. Yeah. Be terrified. No,
I know. I don't know what's going to come out.
Oh, no. It's not that bad. Question one, firstly. Because obviously a lot of people who write also read a lot, spend a lot of time reading. Mm-hmm. What's your favorite book that you've read in the last 12 months?
Picking one, it's impossible. It's a very rude question.
I'm pretty flexible with this. Like, if you can't choose between two, I'll give you two.
All right. I'm going to say Immortal Dark by Tigges Germer. It's a YA fantasy debut. She's also Melbourne-based. It's incredible, the first in a trilogy. And The Phoenix Keeper by S.A. McLean, which is an adult fantasy, cozy fantasy, and it's also has phoenixes in it. So I'm a bit biased, but I also know the author, so I'm even more biased, and it's just incredible. Those two are amazing.
I love that you were sticking with phoenixes here.
Of course, there's a brand. I'm working it.
I appreciate that. Yeah. What's your favorite debut novel that you have ever read? Ever?
I knew you were going to ask this, and it kept me up last night. I could not pick.
I'm so sorry. It wasn't meant to be that.
I know. I'm completely putting this on you that I'm sleep deprived. Yeah. I read it for a book club recently. I can't believe I hadn't read it yet. The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang. Incredible. I don't know if it's not a debut for the individual authors, but it's the first time they've written together. So I'm definitely cheating, but please give it to me because it's one of my all-time favorite books. This Is How You Lose the Time War by Amal El-Matar and Max Gladstone. Just incredible. First time I read it, I only understood about 70%, but I've reread it so many times and it's just an amazing book. So short, you can read it in one sitting.
I love books where authors team up. I'm not going to lie. Mm-hmm. I feel like we should do that a lot more often. Like Jay Kristoff and Amy Kaufman, or like, Good Omens, or like there's actually a lot of good ones out there.
There's so many good ones. Yeah. And it's so impressive when it works seamlessly, but there's also the distinct voices. It's so impressive. I can't imagine how hard it is to pull off. But yeah, incredible.
Do you have a favorite word?
A favorite word?
A favorite word.
Ooh.
And you can't have Phoenix. Now I'm being like...
Get out of my brain. Okay. A Flame and Fury themed, but combustible.
Oh, that's a
anything
good word.
I read. Yeah, anything I read is always going to be loud and eccentric and inflammable, combustible.
So many people, I've actually noticed that a lot of people have actually responded with like discombobulate or like OT, like words like that. And I feel like combustible kind of falls into a similar vein.
That's a good one. My next one is then always like, what is it? Anti-disestablishment Tarianism, because it's purely just, the biggest word possible. It's great. It's a great word.
Oh, love it. All right. Continuing to be mean. What's your favorite romance trope, and you can't have enemies to lovers? Because we've already been.
Oh, God. I just did a panel yesterday and I was asked this and I completely BS'd my way around answering. What's my favorite romance trope? It's such a cliche. I love a one-bed trope. I love when the characters are forced to... I know, hate me. It's a cliche. It's a cliche for a reason. It's incredible. But I have a much clearer least favorite, which is the miscommunication trope. I can't stand it because I'm a very blunt person, so just talk it out, just shove the characters together. I can't stand it when there's some kind of forced misunderstanding for the plot. Doesn't compute with my brain.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. It's true.
Yeah.
Flip it. Let's flip it the other way around. You may have already answered it. What's your favorite green flag?
Oh, that's a good one. Green flag in character. Yeah, okay. I'm just going to go straightforward communication. Characters, when you're self-aware, you can reflect, you can critically analyze. My editors hate it because I do it too much in my books, and they're like, we need more character tension. Let them hold on to their anger more often. Don't let them forgive each other so quickly, because I think in my brain I'm like, oh, well, they understand where the other person's coming from. It's fine. They'd get over it to work together. No, that defeats the whole purpose of having a book. So I need to get better at writing that.
For me, it's they've got their shit together. Like, they're organized, and they're
That's good.
They know who they are and they're organized. So you go into their house and they've got like that level of self-respect and organization, like shit together. That's my green flag. I love
Succinct.
that one.
It'd be rare in a book. Yeah, it'd be very satisfying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You are usually found when you're not writing board gaming as well, in addition to tormenting your characters. What is your board game of choice for games night?
Oh, so many. Me and my partner, we own way too many board games. There's this mountain stack next to my bookshelf. Not quite a board game, but we have been weirdly getting into Mahjong lately. We had a friend who taught us, and now we're just addicted, which isn't a good thing because the rounds go for about 3-4 hours, but we're playing it a couple times a week. It's so much fun. I'm terrible, but yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, there are so many good board games out there. I wonder if there's a podcast for board games.
Are you a board game fan?
I do. We do have a lot of board games. We've literally been playing like King Domino. We recently bought that one because people had been telling us it was really, really good. Oh my god! There's the one that its name is literally just escaping me, but my partner and I play it quite a lot.
Oh my god!
We also play Ticket to Ride, but it's like the one with like a deck of cards, but also like you put the counter down, and the name's escaped me. Like. And you have to get 5 in a row twice to 5 counters in a row twice to win.
I've got no idea what you're talking about. I'm sorry.
This is annoying me. I'm going to look it up.
The podcast is over. Sorry. We're talking board games now.
Aha! Sequence.
Oh, yes. Oh, it's so good. It's so good.
That's the one.
Oh,
that's the first one I've left the podcast.
They're priorities.
Yes.
Board games always
the
take
sequence
priority.
is usually our go-to.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one. I love Wingspan, and I've just discovered there's a dragon version called Wormspan, and I need it. It's so expensive, but I need it. It's like it's been reskinned with different dragons and everything. I need it. It looks incredible.
Oh, man. Love it. Mm-hmm. Where is your favorite place to drink overpriced coffee?
Oh, if I say the real answer, people are going to know where I live because I'm very lucky that because it's literally next door and I'm very lazy and I'm going to leave the house as little as possible. And I'm very lucky. I live on a great main street in the city and I have so many different coffee shops in walking distance. And the one directly across the road from me has the best coffee possible. I'll go there, get a couple coffees take my computer, work for a couple hours, chat to the baristas. It's typical Melbourne hipster coffee. I love it. I love my bougie coffee. I'm such a coffee snob because I used to work in hospitality. So I love coffee. I drink way too much of it.
There's a couple of places I went to last time I was in Melbourne. There's one that's like on a laneway where it's like it's not even like a coffee place per se, but like it's I can't remember the name of it now. There's so many coffee places on that if I Google it, but it's like I can't like laneway's not specific and it is way too.
No, how many laneways are there in Melbourne? It's any coffee shop in Melbourne.
We'll Google it after we finish recording.
Yeah.
Done. I'm going to Google it after we finish recording, and I'll show you what it looks like. And then last one. Mm-hmm. If phoenixes did actually exist, like they're in the world, would you aim to be a phoenix rider?
Oh, God, no. God, no. This is like a zombie apocalypse. Would I survive? No, I'm dying in 2 seconds if I try. I don't have the self-preservation instincts to do it without catching fire. I would die in an instant. Yeah. It would not work for me. Do you think you'd survive a world with phoenixes?
I mean, I usually ride. I mean, I was lucky enough to grow up on a farm where I could ride horses. So I would quite like to give it a try. Whether I do it as a career, I'm not sure. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, you can die. You can die.
Maybe as like a novelty mechanical bull style, just give it a one-off to see if you can do it without dying. But consistently as a rider, no, I would die in a heartbeat.
Instead, I will simply say that you can write about it instead.
Exactly. The safer version.
See what I did there?
Mm-hmm.
Super smooth transition. Everyone listening, you can go and get yourself a copy of Flame and Fury. At the time of us talking, it's not out in the world, but when you're listening to it, it is out in the world, and you can go and check it out. It's published by Macmillan Australia. Mikayla, it's been a pleasure having you on the show. Thank you so much for coming on Date with a Debut.
Thank you so much for having me, Nick. This has been so much fun.
Thank you for listening to today's episode of Date with a Debut, and for listening to the Words and Nerds channel. You can buy all books mentioned in today's episode down in the description box, and if you enjoyed the show, drop us a review, leave us 5 stars or a thumbs up. It really helps the show out. If you want to hear episodes when they drop, be sure to subscribe to Words and Nerds, or you can subscribe to Date with a Debut on Podbean to hear the latest episodes as they drop. Want to support the show more? You can also subscribe to my Patreon in the description to get early access to episodes, book reviews, recommendations, and a whole lot more. Catch you soon! Date with a Debut is a Words and Nerds and Breathe Art podcast co-production.